Yo, Hiro baby. So
Yo, yo.
I know that you've started a club reasonably recently, a new club. I want to know
Yeah.
what have you found is like one of the most challenging things about starting a new club?
Very hot topic, man. It's been 1 year since I established this new club, and it's very hard to attract new members to start off with, and also to retain these new members. I think those two are most difficult thing. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think so too. I think like when you talk about um, retaining people, and we've talked about this before, trying to find out what their why is and trying to align that why with the club's why, right? And you're not always going to get that. But I think it's worthwhile, we talk like it might not be starting a new club, but it might be right now, you know, start of the new year. Typically, we see membership go up.
Mm.
So recruiting might not be a problem for people, but how do we retain members? I think that's a worthwhile thing to chat about.
To retain people, I think we need the people to retain, right? So I think the my 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 club, I think we haven't been very public. So what I mean by that is people don't know about us. So they have to know, oh, there's a Kendo club first, right? And then also they have to see us to to think, oh, that I've never seen that before. It looks like Star Wars or whatever, or it looks like Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayers, whatever they think what we are doing.
Yeah.
I think that's the start, and attract people by showing ourselves to a lot of people.
Yeah. One of the things that the club down in Christchurch, Canterbury Kendo Club, have done in the past is get in touch with the local high school Japanese teacher. And I can tell you from experience, if someone gets in touch with a teacher and says, hey, I can cover a whole lesson for you, just bring your kids down to the gymnasium, they typically love to be able to not have to prepare a lesson. So if you can get some members down on a Wednesday or whatever, those people that don't have to be at the office, come down and do a demonstration. You've got a captive audience with the Japanese class because they're already pre-interested in Japanese culture, and like you say, it might be some of the anime or whatever. When you do a demonstration in public, what's the first exercise that you do? Once you put Bogo on, what's the first thing people do?
Kirikashi,
Kirikashi, right? It's Kirikashi. 100% of the time it's Kirikashi. I'll tell you something, man. Kirikashi is weird. It's a weird thing to do. And what's more, like in terms of an impact factor, yeah, 100%. There's a massive impact factor with Kirikashi because but the thing is that it's actually a bit of a turn off for some people because it's so confronting. Depends who's in the room. Like we talked about, just talked about doing one at the school with kids, right? But if you were doing a public demonstration and you wanted to get some new adult members, the first thing people tend to think when they see Kirikashi is, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that, right? And so all of a sudden it becomes this mysterious samurai Japanese thing that you saw, which was kind of weird and noisy, right? And it looks really painful. I honestly, I always recommend if there's going to be a demonstration, start with kata. You know what I mean? Start with jigeko or the shiai or whatever it is. Something that's not too confronting that people can actually see themselves doing. I would love to know how people out there have used demonstrations or any other technique to recruit people. So please let us know what you do in the comments below. That would be really, really great. So we've talked about recruiting people, and there'll be a million ways to do that, and that's fantastic. The key, as you say, Hiro, is retaining these people, right? And when you look at the research about this, and by and large, probably, I'd say almost all of us are a volunteer base, right? We have a volunteer group of people. At the end of the day, they need to do, you know, the leadership stuff, the governance stuff. They need to do training. They need to do, you know, shinai repairs, everything that's included in running a dojo. It's all managed by volunteers. And so when we look at the research about how do you work with volunteers, one thing that we miss all the time, at least in my experience of where I do Kendo, one thing we miss all the time is recognition, recognizing the input that the volunteers have. Because at the end of the day, we know that money isn't always going to be the driver. So we can say, oh, if only we had funding and we could pay these people. Yeah, that would definitely help. But a lot of people, most people start Kendo and join the club knowing that this is going to be a volunteer thing. People love to volunteer. It's about contributing back to society, back to the community. You know what I mean? And so people aren't always motivated by money to do these roles. But we need them to do these roles, otherwise the club really suffers. The key thing here is recognition. And if you did that in your club once a year at the end of the year, I think that would be huge. But if it became something a little bit more regular, maybe every 3 months, say, an email goes out from the head sensei or the head coach or whoever's in charge of communications and says, hey, I just wanted to recognize Hiro and Blake. Last week they went off to the high school Japanese class and did a demonstration. We're really, really grateful. Thanks, guys. Brilliant. You know, we really appreciate what you're doing for the club. To have that social recognition is massive, right? You could give Hiro and Blake $100 each, and I'm sure they'd be grateful. But if that's not an option, to acknowledge them in front of the rest of the group, it's such a big, big impact.
Very important. So another thing is that for facility, like if your bathroom is broken, you probably want to fix it. Also you want to keep your dojo clean. Thankfully, my dojo, people go there early and clean up. But certain people though, so I really appreciate those too. Especially, I know those people who go there early and then just clean before everyone arrives.
You want to give them a little shout out? Who were there?
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ramon. Thank you, Sam. Thank you,
Brian.
We love you.
Wow. There's one more, Hiro, and I think this is probably key to everything. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to get a Kendo club up and running or maintain, any sort of success with a group of people is communication. We know this, right? But really to sit back and look at how your communication systems are running in your club, I think it never hurts to do that on a regular basis. The other thing that you can do there is go ask some of your members, are you getting the information? Is there a better way that we can get it across? Is it too much? Is it not enough? You said before, Hiro, as a parent, if your kids are expected to be somewhere on a particular day for a demonstration or a grading or a competition, your parents want to know. They've got other drop-offs and pickups to do that day, right? So I definitely think that communication is huge in not only recruiting people, what sort of stuff do we offer and those sorts of things, but retaining people.
Yeah, like you said, everyone is volunteers. So as sometimes they're caught up with their work and everyone has to help out. I think that's another key.
Good chat as always, man. We've talked about changing up your demonstrations. Go down to the local school and get in touch with Japanese teacher down there. Do some demonstrations. Change up what you do. Don't start with the hard stuff, the crazy stuff. Do some cool stuff. It's a really important recognition. Recognize the people that are dedicating the time to the cause, and you will retain them better. What was the last one? Oh, comms, communication, man. Up and down the chain, I think both ways are really important. We can think about different ways to do that and make sure that people are happy with the way that they're getting their information, especially for the parents, hey, buddy?
Yeah, true.
Let us know what you think about this video, and if you've got anything else you want us to cover, please chuck it down in the comments below. Thanks as always. Bye.